I feel like, we have so much that we can be doing and we can be blessing people with. God's given us so many blessings, not just in this country, but even in this community in Austin. We have so many natural blessings upon the things that we have, but the ability to take what we have, that we have so much of sitting throughout our homes and in garages and things like that, and be able to make that accessible for people. It's really about access, because at the end of the day, I purchase and buy so many things and utilize so many things that I use once or twice, and yet it just is simple and sustainable, and just makes sense to say, you know what, if I have something and I'm already willing to share it with somebody else. I mean, you read a book, you read a book maybe once or twice a year and you pass it on to a friend, but if you could do that with everything, because you want to, on the same level of trust and care for those people in your life, why wouldn't you be able to do that? Why couldn't that be a part of what you're doing? And when you realize, when I realized that the blessings I've been given are not supposed to just sit with me so I can, kind of harness them the rest of my life, but in fact, God's showing me how I should be giving those blessings to other people.
How long has Acts of Sharing actually been live in existence?
We launched here, because of that kind of stewardship factor, we wanted to launch on Earth Day, so April 22nd here, I guess today's Thursday, so 4 weeks ago today, we launched, and to this point, about a month in, we got about 1,000 people in communities really across the U.S. We wanted to be here in Austin. I mean, people who live in Austin, we know how cool this area is and what it means to have that Austin stamp on something. So that was kind of the main communities here, but we got people doing this in LA, we got people doing this in Seattle, Oklahoma City, New York, and down in Orlando, I think actually as well. I got some friends doing it there. So it's building in different places, and it's kind of fun to see, who's getting on today, who's doing stuff there, and how, what are they sharing. It's a cool thing.
And I think that's one of the things that we wanted to talk about throughout this series right here, right now, How to Change the World, is the fact that you don't have to be a pastor. Matter of fact, you could probably have a lot more influence in some ways if you're not a pastor, or if you're not going to be a missionary somewhere else in the world. But we're all called to missions. As a Christ follower, we're called to be difference makers right where we are. And that's one of the things I think about Acts of Sharing is so cool. Here you are getting your graduate degree, in Asian Studies at the University of Texas, and you just kind of like, I could do this and make a difference right here, right now.
Absolutely. I mean, that's what we were talking about earlier, is I really feel like at the end of the day, this is a ministry. And I was wondering when I first got to college whether I wanted to go into ministry. It was a thought that I had, and I almost went to Baylor as opposed to UT because of that. Maybe it would have been a bad decision. However, figuring out what that looked like, I was praying to God, what would it look like once I'm done with school to have a passion for something that you have a passion for? Is that business? Is that going to work for a company here or there? Is that going doing the Peace Corps? Is that going? What does that look like? And with Acts of Sharing, it's a huge blessing for me, because at one instance, it's a really fun idea that's new and growing, and trying to figure out what that looks like is awesome. But even more than that, being able to do something where it's trying to bring the church and people back to what the early church, the first church, was doing, what God I feel like has called us to do in a lot of ways. Man, that's just tremendously exciting. So for me, it's more of a ministry. I mean, I guess the same way that a church, you have pastors and people that have to eat as well. I mean, hopefully we can keep this in such a way so you have a few people that are making this thing work. And at the end of the day, it's just keeping us going so that we can keep people sharing and living out the kingdom of God on an everyday level. So that's, to me, what's most exciting about it.